we have one last thing to learn with subtracting, and this is how to subtract across zeros. Now, this can look really confusing, but there's actually a really simple way to do it, and it's called the boxing method. If we can learn how to box it, then that is going to make it a whole lot easier for us. So first, let me explain. We're going to start. I'm going to label my place values with ones, tens, and hundreds, and then I'm going to circle my bigger numbers. Now we see right away that our numbers on the bottom are bigger in our ones and tens place. So what we would usually do is we would go up here and say, well, our zero is too small. I need to take one away from my tens to give to my ones so that my number is bigger. But you see right away, there's nothing in the tens place to take away. So that becomes a really big problem. Now, I have something really cool to show you. There are 0 tens here, but what we can do is we can take our 3 hundreds and make our hundreds into tens. So look right here. If I have 3 hundreds, remember, 100 is just 10 tens. So that means if I counted all of these tens, this is 10, and this is 10, and this is 10, that means I have 30 tens. Here's 10, here's 10, here's 10. I have 30 groups of 10. So instead of thinking of this as 0 tens and 3 hundreds, I'm going to think of this as just 30 tens. Okay, so I'm going to box that off to show that this is now 30 tens. Now that I have 30 tens, well, I can take one of those tens away to give to my ones place. So I'm going to cross this out. And if I had, let me show you here. How many is that? 2, 3, 6, 9, 10. Okay. So here I have here's 10 tens, here's another 10 tens, here's another 10 tens. I just swapped these out for tens blocks instead of 100 block. So I have 30 here. I don't know if you can see that super well. And I'm going to take one away. So now I could count 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So now instead of 30 tens, I have 29 tens. And remember, I gave one over here. So now this becomes 10. And then we're just going to focus on our ones place. 10 take away 6 is 4. And then we can come over here. Oh, look at this. There's a 9 in our tens place now. So we can go ahead and subtract because that's bigger. 9 take away 7 is 2, and then 2 take away nothing is 2, just like that. So the important thing to remember is that you can take your hundreds and just turn them into tens. And that's a really easy way to go about doing our zeros. Now, the cool thing is we can do this with even bigger numbers. So let me show you this. What if we had 4,000 minus 625? Well, again, I'm going to circle my bigger numbers. And I see right away that I have a bunch of zeros here on top. And that's going to make this really difficult. I know that I need to cross this 0 out and it needs to become a 10. But where did I get it from? I can't get it from my tens place. I can't get it from my hundreds place. I can't get it from my thousands. I have to get it from my thousands place because I couldn't get it from my tens or hundreds. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to box it off and I'm going to turn my thousands into tens. So, oh boy, this gets a little tricky. Well, the same way that we did with our hundreds, we're going to do with our thousands. So instead of having 40 tens, now we have 400 tens. And that's the number you see right here, 400. Once you box it off, we're not using this one because this one is changing into 10 ones. We see the number 400. So I now have 400 tens. And I'm going to take one of those tens away to give over here. So now 1 less than 400 is 399. And then I can go ahead and subtract over here. 10 take away 5 is 5. 9 take away 2, look at that, it's already bigger. is 7, and 9 take away 6 is 3, and then 3 take away nothing is 3. And then I can count 1, 2, 3, comma, and my difference, or my answer, is 3,375. I'm going to show you one more because I know this can be a little bit tricky. Let's do one similar to that one. Let's do 8,000. Take away 462. Now, start by circling my bigger numbers like always. And I know this 0 needs to become a 10, but there's nothing in the tens or hundreds places. So I'm going to have to turn my thousands into tens. So now I have 800 tens. Nothing has really changed. We're just changing the way we think about it. Instead of thinking about 8,000s blocks like this, we're going to think of if we had 800 of these tens blocks. It's the exact same number, it's just in a different form. Because if I had 8 of these thousands blocks and I had 800 of these tens blocks, the number would still be the same. So now I have to think, well, I have 800 tens and I need to take one of them away. 1 less than 800 is 799. So now I've taken one away from my 800 tens, I've given it to my ones place. I can go ahead and subtract. 10 take away 2 is 8, 9 take away 6 is 3, 9 take away 4 is 5, and 7 take away nothing is 7. And I can count 1, 2, 3, comma, and my answer or difference is 7,538. I'm going to show you one last way that we can use our boxing method. Sometimes we don't have a number that just has zeros across the top. Sometimes we'll have a 0 in the middle of a number like this. If we have the number 7,042. Okay, and then we're taking away, actually let me change that real quick. We had 7,402, there we go. And we're taking away 2,625. Well, as always, I'm going to circle my bigger numbers here. And I see, of course, I have a 2 on the top, which is too small. So I'm going to know I need to cross it off and I need to make it a 12. Because remember, this is not becoming a 3. Because we're not just adding 1 1, we're adding 1 10. And so if I have 2 1s already and I add a 10 to it, the number is not 3, the number is 12. Because we didn't have 2 and then we added another 1, we had 2 and we added a 10. So it is 12. We could count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a really common mistake that I see a lot of third graders make is they say, oh, I'm adding another one, it's a 3. But that's not it. It's not adding another 1, it's adding a 10. So the number has to be 12. Now, the problem is, where did I get it? I couldn't get it from my tens place because there's nothing there. So I'm going to box it off. Now here's what's important to notice. I didn't box my 7. And here's why. We only box until we get to a digit other than 0, okay? Because we don't need to box that 7. We only need the 4 because we just need something to take away from. And the 0 is nothing, so we need to get to the next number that we can take away from. And the next number is 4. We don't need the 7. So we box the 4 and the 0, not the 7, because we don't need them. And we have 40 tens. We're going to cross it off, take 1 away. So we have 39 tens. And now I can subtract my ones place. 12 take away 5 is 7. 9 take away 2 is 7. Oh dear, I've got a 3 on top, and it's too small. The good news is we already know how to do this because we've done this before, and it's the exact same thing. I'm going to take 1 away from my thousands, so now I have 6 thousands. I'm going to add a 10, not a 1, or in this case, 100, I'm going to add 1,000, not 100. So I have 13 hundreds now. which is the same as 1,000 and 3 hundredths. 13 hundredths take away 6 hundredths is 7 hundredths. And then 6 thousandths take away 2 thousandths is 4 thousandths. So then I can count 1, 2, 3, comma, and my difference or answer is 4,777. So remember, always add your 10, not another 1. So whenever you are adding your ungrouping, you should always end up with a 2-digit number here. You shouldn't be ending with a 3 or a 4. It's always going to be a 2-digit number because we're always adding a 10, not a 1, a 10. And the other important thing to remember when we are boxing is that you only go to the first digit that is not a 0. We don't need the 7, all we need is the 4 because we can take something away from 4. We can't take something away from 0. So only go to that next number. And you can use this with anything. As many zeros as there are, you can box it. As long as you go to the next digit that is not a 0. And it can be in the middle of the number, it can be at the end of the number, wherever your zeros are. As long as you go to the next number that is not a 0, you can box it off. You take 1 away and then take that 1 and add it to the previous place value, and you can go ahead and subtract. Once in a while, you're going to have a situation like this, where even this number is too small, so then you need to ungroup. But you do the exact same thing. It's actually no different. It looks different because we've already boxed it, but we still do the same thing. We have our 3, we add a 10 to it, and we have 13 hundredths. So that is how you box it when you have zeros.